Hello, Kindred.
Hi.
Hello.
How are we this evening?
That
Warm,
pretty much
cozy, and
covers
fuzzy.
Excellent. Why does my computer keep closing Obsidian? Here we go. As we move into tonight's episode, the ship pulls into the docks at Southampton and immediately begins preparations for offloading all the passengers. The sun's only been down for about an hour or two, and our fledglings find themselves completely confused standing in their cabin. Our fledglings thought they were going to be getting a nice, relaxing vacation cruise, but instead, they were subjected to an absolute terror of a time. Under the impression they were all dusted by Darla's interference, the group sat and watched as Ottilie's beast, now trapped in a steel room with a Garu, had finally had enough. The beast snapped, and tapping into a bit of humanity that Ottilie had been keeping hold of, having killed a friend and watching her friends float to the ground as dust around her, the beast took complete control as Ottilie began to frenzy. The beast gave Ottilie access to a few new things yet to be discovered, but Ottilie managed to take the Garu down and left it shredded. That's when Ottilie felt something shift and change. The pressure in her chest seemed to lessen, and her eyes popped open. She was lying on her bed, a figure standing over her, holding a stake in his hands before taking off. Ottilie went to look for her coterie mates and found them all in their beds, with stakes driven through their chests as well. One by one, pulling them out, her coterie members started to come back to consciousness. Grace the human seemed to be in somewhat of a trance and was pulled out of this in short order. This left our coterie to wonder what had happened to them. Without so much as time to think, they heard an announcement ring out through the ship that the passengers should prepare for docking, as the transatlantic voyage had come to an end, and the ship was preparing to dock at Southampton. It's here, on the docks, that we find you, all standing, having departed the ship, unsure of where to go and what to do, not knowing what happened to you during the crossing. More questions than answers as you attempt to navigate your way through unfamiliar surroundings in a search of one Father Douglas Fitzgerald, who seems to have gone missing, and also your humans, should you come across them, or should you find out where they are. We open the scene with Eulod standing on the dockside after offloading with your luggage in tow. People kind of milling about, people looking for loved ones. Nobody really paying any of you mind. It's here that we're going to open the floor tonight to see what you make of events as they unfold for the next part of our story. Grace, likewise, is very much not talking to anyone. Well, most obviously, Sammy.
Anybody else feel gypped? Just asking.
I will
Yeah.
warn you at the moment to please watch using that word. That word is generally considered a slur.
It's a Romani slur.
Oh, apologies, didn't know.
That's okay. Start over. I can cut that out. If you're looking for substitute words, I tend to default to the word robbed.
Or
Anyone else
shafted.
feel robbed?
I definitely feel shafted.
That's not even the half of it.
To say I'm disappointed doesn't come close. But oh well, we're here now, so we might as well make the best of it and march onwards. We have a priest to find. And
Well,
I want to get as far away from this ship as possible. We're taking the
Elizabeth,
plane
how
back.
are you? Yeah, I agree. Elizabeth, how are you feeling?
Shafted. So, do we find the priest first, or do we find a vampire hangout spot?
I was about to say, refresh my memory. Did our contacts tell us that they had a place we were going to be put up? I think they did, but I can't remember.
Do we have hotel arrangements? Is there a safe house in the city? What was the plan?
I should clarify that was a storyteller question.
Okay, thank you.
Same,
Sorry.
sorry.
There would have been arrangements made for you prior to arriving here through your connections with the Black Butterfly. However, as you are walking across the docks, across the pavement, there appears to be an individual approaching you. 1 second.
Oh. Maybe it's someone who could get us connected to whoever was managing the cruise ship. I'd like to file a complaint.
Complaint department.
Solid. I would still give them some points. The accommodations were nice.
This individual
10
has
seconds it was on.
a rather unassuming appearance. Seems to be about average height, sandy brown hair, and a pair of nondescript glasses. He blends in almost seamlessly into the background, except you get the feeling that he's making a beeline directly for you and thus wants you to notice him. His clothing appears casual, and tonight he has opted for jeans and a plain shirt, which only add to his ability to go unnoticed in a crowd. He approaches you and he looks at you. Are you the ones I was sent here to fetch?
Depends on who's asking. As Dee looks at him with an arched eyebrow.
He looks at the rest of the group, almost as if waiting for a response.
I would suppose that probably someone made arrangements for us, yes.
Excellent. If you will follow me, there's some business that needs to be taken care of first. Yes, Dee.
While the individual is speaking, does D notice anything black butterfly related on this individual?
Make me a wits plus awareness roll, please.
Oh, do we have to roll for hunger, like doing our hunger check?
I believe I got you guys to roll that last game, did I not? In that
Yeah.
case, this is still the same night. You would not have to roll it. Yes, Valerie.
Oh, is he human-y?
Is he human?
Yeah,
He is
so I'm
not.
guessing do I know what he is then? Is he kindred? Is he something else? Is it obvious what clan he belongs to if he's kindred?
He is kindred. 1 second. It is not obvious. At the moment, just kind of looking at him, it's not obvious what clan he belongs to.
Do I get like the vibe that he's just somber because he's serious or because he's dangerous and knows it?
I guess that'd be a wits plus awareness for you as well. What did you roll, D?
So I got like 2 successes. One of them was a 10.
Was it a hunger dice?
Yeah.
You do not manage to see... You don't really see anything black butterfly related on him.
Excuse me, sir. Just to be sure, who was it that you were told to meet?
I was told to meet a group of new kindred coming off of the boat from North America. Something about not wanting to leave them unattended for very long.
Yeah, sounds about right. Just wanting to make sure because I would assume that there are a few business ventures that happen upon these shores.
There are a few. Yes, Valerie.
I just want to, I can wait for dice roll results. 5 successes.
5 successes. I'm sorry, you were looking for...
Just a general vibe of his character. Is he somber and quiet because he's just a serious guy or because he's dangerous and he knows it?
You can tell that this is probably because he feels like he's on a job. This is very much business for him.
Okay.
And with that, he turns around and starts walking.
I start following.
Once we get to our destination, your luggage will be handled for you for the moment. You don't have to worry about hauling that around. You can tell us where it's being delivered, and we will make sure it arrives for you.
Excellent.
I'm just making sure Marley's in sight. Sorry, I mean Ottilie. My bad. I'm tired.
I'm I'm at the back of the group, like keeping an eye on everybody, like making sure everybody's in sight.
Same, actually. Along with Grace, making sure she's following us and doesn't pull a teenager thing.
Grace glares at you, but she is following.
I notice the glare and say, We'll have a talk later. You decided to pick the lock on this world. Now you're starting to figure out what the problems are. And then she'll just keep going. Enough of a mother moment, but without disturbing the moment of going forward.
It's not long before this individual leads you to a row of, there's probably about 3 or 4 nondescript black SUVs. And they look like they have tinted windows in them as well. And they look shiny. Almost like they just rolled off the construction belt, off the conveyor belt, or off the
Assembly line.
the
Assembly
line.
line?
Thank you, assembly line.
Fresh off the lot.
Yeah. He looks at the SUVs for a moment and back to you. And as he does, the driver's side doors open of all of these SUVs. Drivers hop out, walk around, and one by one start to grab your luggage and put it in the trunks.
Before we reach our destination, will there be a certain wardrobe requirement? Given as we've been traveling, we're not exactly at our best, and you haven't told us who it is we're going to see.
Oh, my apologies, how rude. And forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Charlie.
Good evening, Charlie. I assume you know who we are.
I would assume Valerie, Ottilie, Elizabeth, Dee, and Sammy as well.
Out of character, I'm making this face.
As they say in this
And-
century, gold star.
And the human is Grace, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Grace will not be able to follow you to tonight's destination. And we will have her delivered to the hotel as well. Or wherever your accommodations are. And you have my word that nothing will happen to her.
Good. Because if it does, assume the rage of a mother.
As for where you are going tonight, and will there be a costume change required? The requirements for a costume change tonight have been waived on account of you've just gotten off the ship. But rumor has it that you lot have a disappointing track record when it comes to introducing yourselves in the territory.
No.
How quaint.
Never.
We are headed to Elysium.
Sammy gets instantly sour.
Come on,
She's
girls.
told
an
That's
anarch she's
spaces.
going to Elysium.
If Charlie noticed this, he does not seem to... He doesn't seem to give away that he's noticed. Doesn't even acknowledge it. Doesn't even look at you.
In her head, how rude.
It's about an hour later. You guys pile into the SUVs. Grace is put in a separate one. The one that all of your luggage was stored in. You guys pile into the SUVs, and you set off.
But she's not being supervised by one of us? Out of character, she's not being
I do.
supervised by one of us?
You are being required to introduce yourselves to the rulers of this territory.
Fair. That
I
being
do
said,
look at
though,
her before she goes, and I say, trust me, if they harm a hair on your head, I'll make sure it hurts.
Charlie looks almost offended at that. Looks over at you. Sammy. Surely my word means something. A kindred's only as good as their word, after all.
Right now, after the trip we've had, not to her it doesn't.
While Charlie and Sam are having their like stare down, I'm just gonna like gently like squeeze Grace's hand to get her attention and just go, make sure you eat something.
Grace looks over at you, and you almost see a smile on her face, and just like a twitch of the corner of her mouth. That's all you get from her.
It's like that
Awesome.
older sister just reflex, like, please eat something.
Please keep yourself hydrated as well.
And with that, you all hop into your assigned SUVs, and off you go. Winding through the now European streets, it's decidedly different than the ones that you're used to. Very much older, very much full of personality and charm, telling the story of thousands of years worth of history piled one layer on top of another, on top of another. Some buildings seem to have been there for who knows how long. Other buildings seem like they were just put up maybe a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years ago. It's a mishmash of literally every time from what you can see. Until they bring you to a rather conic and bullet-shaped building sitting in the... no, sorry, that's London. My mistake. Until they bring you to a nondescript square brick building. Looks almost like a brick box. You're not quite sure where you are, but there is what appears to be somebody standing outside of the metal and glass wooden doors, and he just seems to be waiting as the SUVs pull up, come to a stop. The driver gets out, walks around, and opens the door. A moment later, one of the other SUVs pulls up, and Charlie steps out of the SUV. He looks at the man nods, Charlie nods back, and he waits for you over by the door.
Val is going to take an extra little moment to herself when she steps out, and like the whole way through she was just kind of like glued to her window and seeing all the old things. It's the first time since waking up in this very loud century that she feels at home. Almost. Not quite. Almost.
As you walk into the building, at first it looks like a nondescript brick box. That changes the moment you walk through the door. The atmosphere of the inside could not be any different than the outside. Speaks of antiquity, almost like an old ancient library that goes up a couple of stories. 1 second, my cat has decided this is the perfect time to start screaming for attention.
They're like that.
The decorative wood, carefully chiseled out. Thousands of books in this place. Magnificent spiral staircases, ladders, decorative wooden railings, much more embellished than need be. It almost seems like it's dark oak or maybe a mahogany the entire inside of this building has been made out of. This building was not cheap from the inside, from what you can tell, for those of you that are acquainted with things of that sort. And a few people stop and stare at you as you enter, and then a moment later they are back talking amongst themselves. There's all sorts in here tonight.
So Dee is going to be observing the crowd and what she's seeing, doing a little bit of people watching here. What kind of overall atmosphere, not really vibe, but what seems to be the social she's just trying to get a feel for how things seem socially. Do they seem a little bit more on like the uptight scale, or is it a little bit more relaxed, or business professional, business casual? Like, she's just trying to get a feel for how she should go about things socially while here.
Wits plus awareness, please, and I will be back in just a moment.
Same.
Same.
One by one, they all disappear. I'm just tangled.
Yeah, go ahead.
Five successes.
The energy that is permeating this place is extremely formal. However, the dress of the people doesn't match that. It's almost casual.
All right. So it's like almost as if royalty were dressing up in commoners' clothing type vibe.
Ish. You can tell it's probably still a bit of a facade. But motions may have been made to make you feel more comfortable and not so out of place. A rather gruff-looking man, stern-looking man with a raven black hair and a goatee walks up to you. Strapped at his side is a rather symbolic-looking sword. He just stares at you as you walk in and take a look at the surroundings. Almost as if studying the lot of you.
Do I know what that sword symbolizes?
Yes, you would. Given... Actually, hold on a second. That is a very good question.
Oh my god. Oh my god, is this Kadir?
Intelligence plus academics, please. We're going to go history route for that. Because you are old enough that, I mean, people tend to forget things.
I wish I was old enough to not forget things.
Seven.
7 successes?
Yeah.
Excellent. You would know what the sword symbolizes. It is a symbol of position, most likely. In kindred society, this is probably the sheriff. He looks quite imposing at his, 6 feet. Flecks of silver in his blue eyes.
I'm going to incline my head respectfully, I suppose, in whatever manner is considered respectful. The sheriff, I assume we have you to thank for the escort?
That was in my list of things to do today, yes. To make sure that you arrived in one piece and all together, and his eyes instantly lock on Ottilie.
I didn't do anything.
Yet,
Yet?
Everything that I did was a dream. So it
We-
doesn't count.
we have been briefed on your group, including certain shenanigans that may or may not have been partaken in. As a bit of a forewarning that we may need to keep an eye. That being said, I am glad to see that you have all arrived in one piece. I hope your voyage was a good one.
Actually, it was not exactly as planned. We had some unforeseen company, the shadowy kind.
Sombra.
Let's
Quite
just say the experience was less than pleasant.
Masquerade breach less than unpleasant?
Unfortunately, it does seem like they were able to skirt the lines. Just enough to not breach, but enough to leave an impression.
Sombra will do that. Either way, you have all arrived in one piece, like I said, and that was what we were looking for. We have other business to attend to tonight, so we'll make this short and sweet. Normally, we require the most of formal dress, but given your state and the fact that we pulled you literally off of the dock, certain accommodations were made this evening, and people have been able to enjoy a much more casual approach to discussing business. So, why don't we make this short and sweet for you lot as well, so you can go about whatever it is you need to do that brings you over here. Part ways with respect, or at least acknowledgement, and a well-wish for your business. Oh, and the obvious saying of try not to cause too much trouble. We'd hate to have to deal with shenanigans while you're away from home.
I'll try to keep an eye on them to make sure that doesn't happen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Again,
She
his
kind of
eyes
gives you
lock
the
with
mom
Ottilie.
look. Yeah,
His-
same.
His eyes lock with Ottilie.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm innocent. If you're talking about the time I got into a fight with a dumpster, the dumpster started it. Everything else was either a dream or I was hungry.
Interesting. I shall make note of this.
Yeah, don't assault me with dumpsters.
You
They
see him
lose.
pull out a pad of paper and a pen. And he starts scratching on it for a moment before looking up at you lot. Normally, we would also ask that technology be left behind, but again, given your circumstances, exceptions have been made. Your technology will not be confiscated this evening. We understand that time may be of the essence for you lot.
Very
With
accurately
that-
put. Thank you.
He nods. It's my job, after all. If you'll follow me, we'll take you to Beatrice.
And we follow.
Would
With you following him, he crosses the library, what appears to be kind of the library-esque floor. There's a few tables scattered around. People are sitting at the tables pouring through some of the books. At the other end, there is a rather ornate chair, which has... 1 second.
Are you saying there's a throne room in the library?
I said no such thing. I said there was an ornate chair.
ornate chair, throne room. Depending on the context, is there really a difference? Is there really a difference, Margaret? In this context, is there really a difference?
Brunette hair falling to shoulders and a rather maroon-colored dress. As she sits in the chair, emerald eyes looking out over most individuals. She seems to be chatting with somebody to one side. As the coterie and the sheriff approach, she looks up. The sheriff nods his head and bows. My prince, I have brought you our guests for this evening to make introductions known, as is protocol for new people passing through. And he looks over at you all. Beatrice's eyes gaze over, not lingering too long on each of you, almost as if surveying you.
Bowing my head respectfully.
Likewise.
Yep.
Yep.
Deciding to curtsy because nobody else did.
Beatrice looks over at Ottilie as she curtsies. There's no emotion on her face, but she raises an eyebrow. Greetings and welcome. I hope you're all found fine this evening.
Better now on solid land.
I can imagine. It must have been a bit of a journey for you being cooped up on a ship like that.
Amazingly, time passed more than you'd realize.
Time flies when you're having fun?
Not exactly.
You could say
You
we
can
slept
say-
most of the way through.
You can say the time just sailed by.
The sheriff looks over at the prince for a moment. I'll explain later. The prince nods. So tell me, what brings you bunch to our shores?
We're looking for someone.
You're looking for someone.
Yes.
Anyone we should be aware of? Maybe we can help find said individual.
She's gonna like have like a little look sideways towards Sammy, like, help me.
Yes,
Just out of character reminder, was this whole thing about looking for Daddy Dougie like supposed to be secretive from the coterie, from the mask, from the rest of the Masquerade, like Black Butterfly Society only sort of shit, or it's more of a situation, I'll pick and choose who we trust sort of situation that we were originally given?
I'm going to give this to you. It was not explicitly stated. Either way. Moving back into scene. Sammy.
We have a contact on the side of things that has disappeared, and we would like him back.
How unfortunate. She sits there, again, just staring at you. Her eyes bore in. Apparently somewhere in the back you hear a cat yell.
Did someone lose their cat?
Oh, they come and go from time to time. I really have to talk to our custodian about keeping those windows, barred shut. Pesky little things have figured out how to get in.
As they do.
If
Yeah,
we
it's amazing how small creatures find their way around into places they're not supposed to go.
Val is trying so hard not to die inside.
Right.
But yes,
Same.
your prince. We don't believe that it's a direct concern to your court. We just wanted to make sure that you knew why we were here. And the sooner we find him, the sooner we can go home.
Out of respect, of course.
Well then, I know who you are. My name is Beatrice Perkins of Clan Tremere. I'm going to wish you well on your endeavors. If you find yourselves in need of assistance, then, at any point, you are welcome to reach out. I'm not saying we'll be able to, but if we can help, we'll see about possibly offering resources should it be an appropriate situation to do so.
Thank you, our prince. One question, if I am allowed.
Of course.
I noticed your vast library outside. Is that a resource that's available for kindred in the area should we need to research something?
For kindred of this territory, I'm afraid I get very protective of my collection. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, as do I. I have a collection of my own. Not nearly as impressive, but still a collection.
If you'll excuse me, I have other business in which to attend. It was lovely meeting you all, and I would thank you for following proper protocol this time. She says the words "this time" very pointedly.
Val is trying not to die inside. Dee is trying her best not to fucking burst out laughing at some of the shit that happened just now.
And with that, she turns again to talk to the person that was standing beside her, striking up that conversation almost from where she left off.
Come along, everyone. We don't want to waste any more of the prince's time.
Yep.
Agreed.
Turns around and starts walking.
We're going to pause here for a moment. We're going to have a quick break. Just a quick break. If you need a drink refill, now is the time to do it. If you need to quickly stretch your legs, now is the time to do it. As I bring somebody up to the stage and readjust my cameras.
I'm going to go get my back popped.
Slipping back into scene for a moment now that I have everybody up on stage. You turn away from the prince She nods as you go. She's talking to the person beside her, but her eyes are following you lot. And then a moment later, they snap back to the person she's talking to. Across the room, and again back through the living room. There's a bit of a crowd in the living room, or in the book room, whatever the fuck. The library is what I meant to say. Words are hard. Yes, Valerie.
This is a long shot, but as they're exiting, Val reflexively looks for a possibly familiar face. She's hoping that at this point they might start running into people that are old enough that she might remember them.
You can roll me a wits plus awareness roll, please. As you lot make your way across the library room, there's a bit of a crowd in there at this point. They seem to be talking to themselves. Some animatedly, some not so much. They seem to be talking about politics, things that don't really matter, things that only matter to them, points of business that might only matter to the Camarilla court. You catch snippets of conversation every so often. Nothing overly interesting or intriguing, being strangers on these in this city, but interesting kind of to see how things function over here. That is a 9. You are about a quarter of the way to the room, or through the room. The lot of you are. And Valerie, you just... Thank you, Bone Collector. I appreciate that message. This is Southampton, not, yeah. Anyways, you're about a quarter of the way through the room. And just out of the corner of your eye, for a brief moment, you catch flickering of an almost familiar face before it's out the door.
Warm fuzzies? Familiar or...
Very much warm fuzzies. You have nothing but good memories with this individual. Because the face that you saw appeared to be the face of Father Douglas. But then again, you just saw it out of the corner of your eye.
One of those, like, the minute I try to focus on where he could have gone, I lose it.
He's gone.
Okay,
Out the
I'm
door.
gonna...
You can actually watch the door. You glance over to look at him. You actually watch the door close behind.
We need to leave right now through that door.
What?
We're leaving through that door right now.
Why?
Okay, knowing Val and trusting Val. Okay, let's go. All right, let's go.
Talk
Okay,
that
shit.
fast often. Let's go.
Ottilie, and I grab Ottilie's hand.
I'm coming. Oh my goodness.
You're all so short. Come on.
I'm basically just making a beeline for that door while like I'm but like trying to not act like we're running away because I think that would be rude here. We have to leave at a sedate pace as to not be like looking like we're already causing trouble when we just got here.
You hastily, but not too hastily, make your way across the rest of the room and out through the door into the cool night air. Once again, surrounded by the box of brick. Valerie, for you, the inside is a lot more interesting. This is blech. It's not quite your taste, not quite your elegance. Sammy, you'd probably be feeling a bit of the same kind of let down or almost depression type feelings. As you get out through the door, in your immediate vicinity, you can see no one. There's no one on the street that you notice.
I
What
saw
did you
him.
see?
I saw him. I saw Father
Who?
Douglas.
What? He's here? And Dee is now looking
It
around.
was just for a moment. It was just a flicker, and maybe I am wrong, but he came out this way.
She looks you right in your eyes and goes, "Be very, very sure of this. You saw Father Douglas walking out of Elysium. Do you know what that sounds like?"
I'm well aware, which is why I did not make a scene inside Elysium. If it's not
Just so
him, then it was somebody wearing his face, and you know what sort of implication that means.
Yes.
Dee's facial expression changes as she starts to realize what it could mean. It's like it turns into just the look of like, oh fuck.
Are we saying that he's a vampire? Is that what we're saying? Because we're not
No.
saying, but apparently looking.
That's one of the worst case scenarios. The other worst case scenario is that some other kindred is wearing his skin.
You hear a car door slamming shut as it echoes down the street, and a moment later, a gray, silvery sedan takes off.
Can I run after it to be able to see the license plate and make?
I'm running with her
These-
to try to do the same thing.
Wits plus awareness, please.
Can she whip her phone out and take a picture of it real quick?
You can absolutely try. Are you attempting to zoom in at all?
No, just to take a picture of it. That way we know the make and model of the car.
Absolutely. You take out your phone, snap a photo. Your phone gets you to hold still for a few moments. And looking at the picture afterwards, it's a little too blurry. 'Tis the problem with nighttime photography with a phone.
Mm-hmm.
5 successes.
Thank you. One moment. Five successes for D as well.
Yeah, one of them was a 10 and it was my hunger dice.
You don't see anything remarkable about the license plate. You do manage to jot it down. But you also rolled well enough to see in through the back window of the car. And you catch a glimpse of Father Douglas in the driver's seat as the car takes off.
D is just
Yeah.
speechless.
We have to follow him now, or we're going to have to start from scratch.
The car takes off down the street. And another moment or two, and it's going to be out of sight.
I'm going to keep
I'm
going.
still
after.
running. Same. And I'm also going to try to jot down the street names that it just went down before, like, try to take note of what street names it goes down on and when we get around, like, when it just so happens that we lose it, because obviously at some point we're going to lose this thing, at least try to get the information as to what street we last see it at.
You manage to follow down a few streets Following behind you is one of those shiny black unmarked sedans. Its lights just kind of flash at you.
Do I recognize, is it the same kind of cars that brought us here?
Yes.
As soon as it lines up, I'm going to like open the door and ask him are you here to help us or just to take us back to the hotel?
The driver looks at you as you open the door. I was asked to act as chauffeur for you for the evening. If you need to go anywhere, I was asked to take you there before returning you to the hotel at your discretion.
Do I still see the silver sedan?
It's up ahead. It's a fair ways away. You're going to lose it like any minute.
Great. And I just shove Val in and get in behind her. Let's keep going down this road here, please, and thank you.
I assume we can see this. The ones that have been left behind can see this from a distance, right?
You guys can see that. The ones that have been left behind at the moment cannot.
I'm going to take out my phone, call Sam, so that way party is still connected as Val and I start in the car following the sedan, the silver sedan.
Tell the other
One
three.
moment. Go ahead.
I was going to say, tell the other three to get in another car and follow us.
And Dee will relay that information to Sam to relay to the rest of the party.
Yep.
Ottilie, are you around? She is not. 1 second. I think I heard her.
I'm here.
Ottilie, you had your hand rose. You raised your hand.
Yeah, you guys went on with the story, so it's fine.
Okay. I'm going to backtrack for a moment. What did you want? What did you need?
Oh, I wanted to play. I was going to see if Ottilie could shapeshift into a dog and run after the car.
You are more than welcome
Since
to do so.
she's a vampire dog, she'll have extra speed on that.
You are more than welcome to do so. You are going to make me a rouse check. We're going to just pause here for a second.
We can recon.
Okay, I got a 9.
For your rouse check,
Mhm.
let me double check your abilities. 1 second, please.
Maybe we can take Doggy Ottilie in the car with us and then just stick her head out of the window. And then she can follow that way and point us in the right direction.
Dee just picks up Ottilie in football like you would any other corgi. Puts her in the lap because Dee would be...
Let me play my character too, though, because so far you've been grabbing me, pulling me, holding my hand. Let me play too, please.
1 second. So the rules of this, because this is a new ability for us, the vampire can assume the shape of an animal roughly the same size as their original mass. The vampire can only change into one type of animal, usually a wolf, sometimes a large feline or giant snake, usually one associated with their clan or type of prey they most commonly feed on. The animal, while usually a spectacular example of their species, shows no signs to a mundane observer of being supernatural. So with the shape change ability, it looks like you get one animal.
Mm-hmm. She's going to be a dog.
Okay. So describe the dog. What does the dog look like?
It has to be close to my mass. And the best thing I could think of to a 4.5 foot tall person was actually something like a German Shepherd.
Okay.
That would work out pretty good. Or like
I want her to be like white/silver, like the hair that I used for Ottilie, so that it can be mistaken for a wolf. Because that would be fun.
Absolutely.
It would fit in better over there too.
Absolutely.
have you ever seen a German Shepherd Coyote cross? Because that's sort of what I envision, and especially with the color that you described.
Yeah, something like that. Would that be okay to do?
Absolutely. That would be fine to do.
Okay.
So you start to shift and to change. Everybody else around you might take notice of this. So we had Sammy and Valerie going after the van, yes? Going after the car, yes?
D and me.
No, D and Valerie.
Thank you.
I got Sammy on the horn to keep the party connected over the phone.
Elizabeth, what are you doing at the moment?
I am with Sammy, just like, my stats are in medicine. You guys got this one.
Sammy and Elizabeth, you two see Ottilie start to shift, melt, and change as skin, bone, and sinew, muscles flow like water. And then a moment later, you see a dog, roughly the same size as Ottilie was. That grayish silver fur. And then a moment later, the dog takes off down the street at a dead run.
Fuck 'em up, Ottilie!
She kind of laughs at and goes, sick 'em! And then she goes, come on, Elizabeth, we've got a car to catch. And then runs back to one of the sedans.
For D and... One second.
Just doing their jog pace run, just like trying to catch up.
Carrying on the tradition of the investigator and the doctor. We'll do it.
I'll just fucking segue my way over there.
For D and Valerie, you guys aren't all that far down the street. And then a moment later, a silver blur seems to rush right by you, taking off after the car. At least that's what it seems like.
Oh, and Sammy would have told them over the phone, by the way, she's a dog now. Have fun!
Get him!
Make sure to follow the dog too. I tell the driver.
The driver nods, and as you guys pull up next to the dog, because the car can go fast, the SUV can go faster than the dog can run. The driver slows down just enough and presses a button, and the back door slides open. Pulls almost perpendicular with Ottilie running down the street.
Is it doing one of those Ghostbuster car things?
The door opens and gives you more than enough room to just jump in.
Okay, I'm jumping in.
Make me a strength plus athletics roll, please. Difficulty 3. Congratulations, you lot have officially let a dog loose.
Okay, we've done worse. This is our one of the better ideas we've had.
She knows.
I'm not gonna lie. She's got this.
Would you rather a werewolf in London or a fucking marshmallow person running amok?
You watch the van pull right beside you. Ottilie still going and keeping up with you. The back door opens. Are you jumping in?
I'm jumping in.
You jump in, not a problem. Manage to land on all 4 feet in the back seat, and the door slowly closes beside you. And the SUV takes off down the street after the car. So the driver looks at you. So why are we going down this street?
We're following...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're following that silver sedan. List off the number of the license plate.
Oh, you should have just told me that. Give me 1 second. And a moment later, he starts to tighten his knuckles against the steering wheel. He grabs the gear shift beside him. You hear a slight clunking sound as he moves the gear shift forward, and the car splits off down the street.
You're
Like,
just
it-
going to hear from the back seat, yoink, and my head hit the seat.
Ottilie goes, like, tumbling.
She just falls down in between the seats. Just, I'm here now.
Roll down a window and put a seatbelt around her.
Dee will just climb into the back and do that.
Who's in the front seat?
Me. Oh, sorry. I thought it was me since you said you pushed me in.
I think it was the both of us, actually, because I kind of shoved you in first, so you're kind of in the middle, and then I'm at, like, the side.
Driver looks at you. Is it overly imperative that we catch the car, or are we just following it?
Yes!
Follow it.
Bad!
How close?
Close that we could keep track of it, but not so close that we are suspected of being stalkerish.
Okay, so we're going to need to cover some distance. Looks over at you again. Do me a favor. Flip open the glove compartment. There's a little blue button in there. Press it for me.
Dee does that.
And you guys are almost thrown back into your seats in a moment as the speed of the car, like, triples.
Men in Black.
Takes you not very long to close the distance needed. Thanks. Find it hard to take my eyes off the road when I'm doing that. Probably about half an hour later, you guys pull up behind the sedan outside of what appears to be a rather medium-sized church on a back road. The sedan has turned off, and the occupant that was in the sedan is making their way up the stairs.
Does the occupant from the silver sedan still look like Daddy Dougie?
Sure does.
Is there a name on the building or like a kind of an address?
Nope.
Dee's just going to jot down description of the building. And what streets were taken to get to this place?
You're passing the notes back, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Well, you pass those notes back to your party members to your coterie members that were left behind. Ottilie, still in the back seat. What are you doing?
Are we parked right now? We're parked, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming, the SUV pulls up behind the silver sedan and parks.
Okay. I'm going to get out. I'm in dog mode. He's not going to recognize me. I'm getting out. I'm gonna try to come up to him as a stray dog.
You find trouble opening the back door.
I start growling until somebody opens.
Dee
the
reaches
door.
over and undoes the back door.
The door opens and you are out, and you don't quite manage to make it to him before he walks into the church. And again, the doors close behind him. You get to the doors just after they close.
Yeah. Start barking at the door.
What are the
I'm a
rest of you
dog.
doing?
I'm going to get out, but observe from next to the car and wait for the others to arrive. And I'm just going to watch Ottilie do her thing.
Oh, believe me, after a few minutes, if he doesn't respond and open that door, I'm going to start wandering around the church area.
The church is a fairly gothic-looking structure. Medium size. You don't really see, oddly, any other doors or entrances around the building anywhere.
So here's a question that I didn't cover before, so we're going to be out of character for a second. If I choose to shift back, am I naked?
I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that no, your clothes shift with you. That would be one of your abilities.
Okay. Then I'm going to go to a side area and shift back. In the shadows. Where there's no darlings.
Yep,
Just in case. Yeah.
absolutely. So you shift
Don't-
back into your
No
I had to make sure there were no
darlings.
darlings in the shadow where I'm shifting because I don't appreciate her.
Also,
you
no
shift
people.
back, you shift back, not a problem. Though I will point out that the lights in the church are on as well. You can actually faintly hear organ music coming from it.
Don't they keep churches open in Europe? Sometimes.
And
Okay.
not much later is when Elizabeth and Sammy show up outside of the building. Another SUV pulls up and they get out.
Just, oh, hey guys. Great team effort.
The
What-
heck are you tired
well,
for? You were driven here like us.
So anyway, what did I miss? What did we miss?
We're basically doing a bit of a stakeout.
She looks over at the building. I assume, given it's parked there, that he went inside this place?
Yup.
Seems that way. Ottilie's gone to do a recon. We figure, she'd be the best one for the job, and I just wanted to see what he did. Apparently, he's just playing music.
It's Daddy Dougie. Is he?
Out of character, do we have a name for the church?
There are no definitive markings on the outside of this church other than that it's just Gothic in appearance.
Is the barking still happening?
Pardon?
I thought Ottilie, dog Ottilie was sniffing around the door. and making
Ottilie
noise.
has Ottilie's shifted back.
I went around to see if there's another way in, didn't find one, decided to shift back, and am walking back to y'all.
Yeah, and it's about this time that Ottilie pops out from the side of the building.
She
All right,
smiles
so this is the only way in, y'all. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways, I just didn't see them, but I didn't find another way. And also, just want to point out, I am adorable. Just
She smiles
Anybody-
at her and says, "Good job."
anyone want to try the front door? Something we never do.
Very well.
mean-
And Val will just march ahead.
Yo,
Away we go.
D is gonna lean over towards Ottilie. Oh my gosh. So what breed of dog was that? That was so pretty.
Some kind of coyote shepherd thing.
Yo.
I wanted to be cute. I think I'm very cute.
You are very cute. And
As-
she'll
Adorable,
just
darling.
scritch behind her ears.
As Valerie walks up to the door, you're knocking?
I was gonna.
You knock on the door and there is no answer.
I would assume that a church is a public entry place.
Not always the case. I'm just gonna open the door then.
I mean,
Nope.
someone better open that door before I take it with us. Honestly.
You open the door. It squeaks a little on the hinges. And I'm hoping our new guest tonight will describe themselves, please. What are you wearing? What are you looking? What do you look like? How do you hold yourself what kind of demeanor's on your face. Let us know.
She's gonna step from the darkness, clad in a pretty much black from head to toe, except for her hair, which is silvery, hanging down below her shoulders. She has light-colored eyes. She kind of looks over at you guys.
Her eyes seem to fall on Valerie for a long moment. There's almost a glint of recognition in them.
Do I recognize her?
You do not.
For several long moments, she's going to focus on Valerie. And then sort of take notice of something wrapped around Valerie's neck. That's mine.
Excuse me?
That necklace. That's mine.
Well then, my dear, I suppose maybe you should introduce yourself and tell us how a corpse has come to stand before us. Because the owner of this necklace is supposed to be dead.
The rumors of my death have been vastly exaggerated.
Well, that's certainly a feat, but that is a fairly grand claim to make. I'm afraid we'll need a bit more than that.
I'm going to step in for a moment. You are welcome to give your name if you wish.
You take my necklace, and now you want to demand my name. It's Dorothea, if you have to know.
You know, it's funny. The person who gave me this spoke very fondly of you. Hadn't realized you were so full of yourself. Watch who you're talking to.
I'm not the one currently in possession of stolen property.
If you are who you claim to be, then how is it that you lost this necklace in the first place?
Things got a little chaotic when I made my exit.
No shit, we cleaned up your mess.
And you made your exit from?
I seem to recall a hospital.
And the
Yes,
name of
a
that
dark and
hospital
dreary
and when.
place.
Check your DMs, please, Myriad.
Riverside Healing Hospital.
And when was your escape made?
Bear with us.
I don't remember the exact date. I do remember it was Isabella.
Yes, her ghost gave this to me as part of a thanks for helping cleanse that terrible, terrible place. If you want it back, by all means, ask so. Accuse me of thievery again, and you won't like what happens next.
Who was
We're
the
gonna-
doctor treating you in your time there?
We're going to pause here for a second because Ottilie had something.
Yeah, I'm going to look at Elizabeth and just kind of be like, does Dorothea not know that she's supposed to be my best friend? This is not how this is supposed to happen. She's supposed to be my best friend. Just saying. That's my best friend who doesn't know she's my best friend because her other best friend who died didn't tell her before she died that she was going to be my best friend. Wait, do we have the chocolate thing? Maybe that'll help her know that we're not mean.
Nah, I left that at the hospital as a sign of good faith.
Oh, okay.
But you're totally welcome to try. Well, oh, keep going, sorry.
I'm not going to interrupt if they're going to argue over jewelry. Just saying, she's supposed to be like my best friend and maybe she just needs a hug. Like, she's sad. Maybe she doesn't know everything got like made better. Maybe we just have to be like really nice and tell her like, hey, it's fixed. Everything's good. You can actually go visit your friend now and not like be in mortal danger. Like, hey, that's cool. Unless you're a nun now, because in that case, like you're probably stuck here for a while until they transfer you.
Elizabeth looks at Dorothea. Nah, I think you're good.
Because like, just saying, we don't have to fight over it, but she's clearly going through something and doesn't know she's my best friend.
I agree. There's a lot of bullshittery happening. Also, I'm gonna like force the... I don't know how else to put this, because using force the blood into my vision with Auspex heightened senses, and I'm not even looking at Dorothea anymore because I know like they got that handled. I'm looking around to like look at everything else, looking for anyone else, looking for any other sign of life, any other dangers. Yeah.
One moment. The entrance hall is adorned with intricately carved wooden panels depicting scenes from what appear to be Christian scripture. The air is filled with a soft scent of incense, creating an atmosphere of reverence. A large central crucifix hangs from the ceiling, but upon closer inspection, you notice subtle, almost serpentine patterns intertwining around the edges. As you glance into the main hall, the traditional layout of pews facing an elevated altar is apparent. The altar is a masterpiece of craftsmanship with an ornate depiction of a Garden of Eden. Here, the serpent is almost in a position of wisdom and enlightenment and coiled around the tree of knowledge. If they were lit up during the day, sunlight would filter through the stained glass windows lining the sides of the church, the light from the inside now casting a glow on them. These windows depict biblical scenes, but apparently also with a twist. In one, Moses' staff transforms into a serpent before the Pharaoh. In another, the healing bronze serpent that Moses raised in the desert is subtly replaced with an Ouroboros. The walls are adorned with murals that that seamlessly blend different Christian imagery together. And the altar seems to have serpents carved intricately throughout it. The crucifix above the altar seems almost ordinary, but the closer you look, again, the body of Christ is entwined with serpents, and the chalice used in communion has subtle serpent-shaped handles. Serpents seem to be fairly prominent here, which, if you know your Christian mythology, the serpent was not looked fondly upon. Yes, Dee.
Does the chalice look familiar to the one that was in the hospital by chance?
Pardon?
Does the chalice in the church look similar to the chalice that was found in the hospital?
No, it does not. We're going to shift back to Valerie, Dorothea, and that scene for a moment. With Valerie having just concluded telling Dorothea if she's called a thief again, she's going to have a very large problem with it.
Even if Isabella gave that to you, it wasn't exactly hers to give. Now, if you want to interpret it as I calling you a thief, because I said that you were in possession of property that belongs to me, you're more than welcome to do so. All I said was, that's mine.
Little girl, do not play words with me. I know exactly what you said. Now, all I'm saying is, say it nicely.
Then please tell me, why are you here?
Why, sister, thank you. That is so much better. We're here looking for a lost friend. And she's going to take the necklace off, gently roll it up. Here, next time, think before you speak. Think of this as a gesture of good intentions as to why we are here, and not a smudge beneath my boot.
Valerie, taking the necklace off, balling it up, and with the agitation that you are feeling at this impetulant whelp, unfortunately is going to come at a cost for you. I'm going to penalize you a dice roll for mental rolls for the next little while. Just one dice.
Okay, got it.
There seems to have been a miscommunication as to your well-being back across the pond, Miss Dorothea. I don't know how comfortable you are with making updates to individuals that had been concerned over your whereabouts and well-being, over the last while, but I believe some individuals back beyond the pond, out west, would be happy to hear from you.
Dorothea. You take a moment to think over the group looking for someone. You're almost curious as to why it brought them here. Who are they looking for? What do they want? I mean, after all, this is your place.
Was that Dorothea talking, or?
No, that was me talking to Dorothy as the storyteller.
If it is that prick, Dr. Morty, that you want to enlighten as to my state, he can take a long walk off of a very short cliff. Now,
Oh, he's dead.
I asked already, why are you here?
And then that's when Sammy finally butts her head in. Time to get professional. She reaches in her coat, pulls out one of the cards, goes, "Oh, we have a bit of a missing person situation. My card?" And she hands you a card that says, Samantha Red Skies, Night Shift Detective. I can show you official credentials if you need to. I have those in my pocket too, but I don't prefer that. Essentially, we were following someone that had the, let's just say, appearance of the person we were looking after, and they walked through this door.
The appearance of someone you're looking for, and they walked through these doors.
Yes.
Who is that?
He's a priest. She thinks for a second, wondering if she should trust this person. And then decides on it. Have you heard of a Father Douglas by any chance?
The moment you mention the name of Father Douglas, Dorothea motions for you to follow her and leads you off down into the interior of the church and then off into a side room. Turns out to be a bit of an office. Might not necessarily be to your tastes, but as she opens the door. One second, I'm going to break scene here for a moment. Are you okay, Dragon?
Yeah, it's just late for me, and I'm trying to stay awake right now. And
Okay,
it's
bear
like
with me.
getting really difficult.
Bear with me. She takes you off down the interior of the church and opens the office door. And inside you see a man sitting behind a desk. Looks like... You're not sure if that's face paint or his actual face. Maybe it's a costume, maybe it's not. He grins at you for a moment as he watches you enter the office, Dorothea having motioned for you to enter. You can remove your cam covering now. Tilt your camera up. The first thing you see is the staff in his hand. Tilt your camera up, please. Wearing a top hat, a fairly fancy dress. Almost looks like he's wearing a mask over his face. Mask of bone.
Ladies.
Bone Daddy.
No,
Oh,
Who?
great.
this is not Bone Daddy.
At what point do I look like a bone
I-
daddy?
I didn't say that in character then.
Is this the person from the ship?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
If I
Random person. Not normal. This is just a whole night of not normal. I'm gonna let y'all talk to this one, and Ottilie's gonna look at Dorothea and be like, "Me and you need to have a talk because you don't know you're my best friend yet, but you're my best friend. It's gonna happen. You love me, you just don't know it yet."
Trust me.
What does my child have to do with her?
It's a long story. But there's no malice behind it. It's fine. It's fine.
Bestest best friend ever just doesn't know it yet.
Dorothea, why are they here?
She reaches back, takes the card that she gave Dorothea, and then hands it to him and goes, "We were looking for someone, and apparently whenever we mentioned the name Father Douglas, we were brought here."
Ah. So you're the group looking for Father Douglas.
Yes, apparently we are.
Pretty obvious. Yeah, that's what we just said. Yes. Definitely just said it. Yes. For sure.
And don't I have the answers? No. But I think I might be able to help you locate this Father Douglas.
Do tell.
I'd like to observe Mr. Skellyman here as he is speaking. Is he truthful? Can I tell that he's telling the truth, or is he bullshitting us? Did he make himself look like Father Douglas on purpose?
Make me a wits plus awareness roll, please.
Always.
was going to say, do I know what I'm looking at?
You do not. You haven't seen anything quite like this before. Even in your long years on this planet.
Long years.
So, 5 successes. However, 3 of them are 10s.
I believe that is up to you, sir. Because I believe that is actually a success on D's part.
I'm not lying.
I don't
Do you
suppose.
know?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you know who Daddy Dougie is?
I think I know of him, yes.
Okay, because we
Then
just saw him
perhaps-
enter this facility earlier. And yet he's not here now?
I think I know who we saw enter this place. This is a complete guess on my part, but I'm an investigator. I tend to guess. That was you, wasn't it?
No.
Oh. My apologies.
I've been in here the entire night.
Then perhaps my question is, would you happen to know how it is that we came to see his likeness and that it led us here?
Perhaps it was destiny.
So his likeness learned how to drive and led us all here? And then disappeared when it walked inside? That
Sometimes,
is...
sometimes you can't trust your own eyes, especially in a place like this.
Welcome to the old world, little one. I told you guys it would be different here.
An illusion that's powerful enough to have even our driver believe it existed? I say this as I look to Val.
Don't discount anything. I'll explain that a different time.
There are
Yeah.
far more things here than just us, FYI.
So if you have clues, by all means, we're all ears.
I have people. I have friends. But I'm kind of curious as what is in it for me. You came to me asking for help. What's in it for me?
I assume you all know how this works at this point to where I can do what I'm about to do and you'll be perfectly comfortable with it?
The floor is yours, my dear.
All right. I assume you have some sort of problem.
Me? No, no problem. But even in the most independent of clans, we do follow suit to favors.
Very well. Since I've checked with everyone and again, they know how this goes. We offer you a favor in exchange for the information that you can give us.
It's going to require a major boon.
I thought it might. Okay then. I suppose. And then she pauses and looks back. He's that important to you?
He is to them, so you can have my guarantee to weigh behind. That's not
She kind of
insignificant
glances.
here.
She kind of glances to the rest of you to get your approvals before she throws something like that into the fray. Okay. In that case, the boon
Now,
is
how
yours.
many of you... Very well. I accept. First off, I can almost taste the sin off every single one of you. The question I now have, how many of you are of Clan Tremere?
Sorry, can you repeat the first part of the... Oh, okay. Sorry. I kind of missed the first part of the question.
Good. You're good. We're getting there. Just bear with me. We're almost done.
Real quick, what was that first question again?
How many of you are of Clan
And how many of you know rituals?
I'm afraid they are a little green around the edges.
So they'll need to learn.
They would need a teacher.
Have you been to the Camarilla? Have you met them yet?
Of our area, yeah.
I was
We've-
meaning you're clearly not in your area right now. I
No.
was intending to meaning, have you been welcomed by the
Yes.
Camarilla?
Yes,
Here,
we've
here.
made
Yeah, over
ourselves
here,
known.
yes. Yeah, so we are aware that the prince of this area is also Tremere.
And they knew about us.
Perhaps
Oh,
you
yeah.
can get me an audience with the prince. And perhaps I may be able to persuade the prince to teaching you the ritual you'll need.
And it's here that we are actually going to bring tonight's episode to an end.